Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We begin this noon with a heavy police presence on Detroit's east side. This is near Siren Street in East Van Dyke. We don't have much information right now. We haven't confirmed with Detroit police just yet what's going on there, but you can see an armored truck has been brought in along with some officers and heavy gear. We will keep a close eye on this and bring you updates as we get them. Our other big story this noon, some potentially severe weather is developing. Now, this isn't until tomorrow, but we want you to be prepared. Here's Ashley Barrissey.
Okay, you can move it.
Well, we've been asking for that summer-like heat, and here we are, but we're also going to pair it with a little bit of humidity. So we'll be into the mid-80s this afternoon. Some spots might even rise into the upper 80s. Great pool day. However, there will be a chance for an isolated afternoon shower. I think most of that would even track north of here, so we should be staying rather dry, but I just can't rule out a couple of them bubbling up into the afternoon and evening hours. Otherwise, holding on to 80s throughout this work week, but come tomorrow, we have a much better chance of seeing strong to severe storms into the afternoon and evening hours. And then going into next week, 90s will be making a comeback really from last year. So as we look at that 7-day temperature trend, we'll be above average throughout most of the 7 days. Will be pretty seasonal Thursday, but at least 10 degrees above average through the weekend into early next week. We're going to dive in the details of those storm chances for Wednesday coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Ashley, we'll check in with you shortly. Meantime, 2 men charged in the alleged plot to carry out a shooting at a high school graduation in Pontiac are set to face a judge this afternoon. Jamarian Hardiman, Davion Wiley, they are both charged in connection to the June 3rd incident. They're accused of hiding weapons in the parking lot of the UWM Sports Complex where that graduation for the Arts Technology Academy of Pontiac was taking place. Today's probable cause conference is a time for the defense and prosecution to discuss the case. The mother of the Oxford school shooter is taking her fight for freedom to the Court of Appeals. Late last week, an Oakland County judge ruled Jennifer Crumbley and her husband James would not get new trials, but are currently serving sentences for manslaughter in connection to the 2021 shooting. Jennifer Crumbley has been incarcerated for 3.5 years. Now, in a new court filing, Jennifer Crumbley is asking the Michigan Court of Appeals to let her out on bond as she appeals the process. The motion reads in part, granting Mrs. Crumbley bond pending appeal is also consistent with the proper administration of justice. It would be grossly unfair and unjust to keep Mrs. Crumbley locked up for years while this matter proceeds slowly, like for years before the appellate courts. We will continue to follow this story for you and bring you any new developments. Another name in the long list of names joining the race to become Michigan's next governor, former Republican State House Speaker Tom Leonard announcing his run early this morning. Leonard served as a member of the State House from 2013 to 2019. Since 2020, he's been a member of the Bloomfield Hills-based Plunkett Cooney law firm. You can hear Leonard's vision for Michigan's future with our Jason Colthorpe. He'll be his guest on Flashpoint this Sunday at 10 a.m. And he does join a crowded pool of candidates for the state's top elected office. Other candidates on the Republican side, Eric Nesbitt, Anthony Hudson, and Mike Cox. Democrats include Jocelyn Benson, Chris Swenson, and Garland Gilchrist. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is also running as an independent. The parent company of TikTok has until Thursday to divest from the social media platform, but now President Donald Trump is hinting that deadline will likely be extended. He told reporters on Air Force One this morning that he is seeking an extension, but will probably need China's president to approve it. ByteDance was ordered to divest from the app or face a U.S. ban over national security concerns. The original deadline of January was extended when President Trump said he hoped to reach a deal to, in his words, keep the app alive. Yesterday, here at noon, we told you about the ramp meters that are coming to a stretch of I-96 through Oakland and Livingston County. That starts tomorrow. It'll be on I-96 on the on-ramps between Milford and Novi roads. MDOT says that this will make that stretch of freeway safer and prevent some of those bottlenecks and heavy traffic volumes when traffic is merging in. But we know that drivers have a lot of questions about how to navigate it. So our Priya man caught up with Diane Cross of MDOT to explain how it's all going to work.
You know it's serious when I'm wearing a safety vest, but safety is first when you're standing on a freeway ramp. And the reason we're doing that, see those lights behind me? Not every day you see traffic lights, but here in Oakland County along 96, we're going to start seeing some of these metered ramps. We want to bring in Diane Cross with MDOT. Diane, thank you for joining us this morning. This is a strange sight.
Well, it is for drivers here in Michigan. This is the first time we've had this in decades. Many decades ago, we used to have them on M10, I swear 94 as well. But we're starting it here in Oakland County. First time we've got it on 8 different ramps. And it's just like any other traffic signal. If you see red, you have to stop. You see green, you can go. It's a 2-part system. Congested traffic on 96 will trigger these sensors to turn on. As traffic comes up the ramp, there'll be a sensor that signals start flashing yellow. Then it goes to either green or red, depending on which side of the ramp you're on. There's 2 lanes, so when you get down to it, you have to follow your own traffic signal. It's just like normal signal use.
And which ramps are we talking about here in Oakland County?
Of the 8, they're at Milford Road, Wixom Road, and Novi Roads. Those are the ones that we've had a lot of problems with crashes, rear-end crashes getting onto the freeway, side swipes when people try to merge. But even with the signal ramp controlling when you get onto the freeway, you still have to pay attention like any time. Watch your speed compared to the rest of the traffic, but the goal is we're not going to let you get onto the freeway if it's too congested. You'll just sit there with the red light until it's clear. And while that sounds like it might be a long time, it won't be. It'll be a reasonable amount of time, but when you get a green, you know it's going to be safe for you to merge.
You know, you talked about safety, of course. When drivers are coming up here, we need to treat it like we would any other traffic light, right?
Very much so, because running a light is an offense. You can get points on your insurance and a ticket, so you need to be conscious of that. And I'm not sure which agency, in addition to MSP, you might have local Oakland County, you might have local PD that might also be monitoring that. So, but really the safe thing is the goal. Red, you got to stop so that you don't merge into already congested traffic, that people don't start tapping their brakes, get the domino effect of backing things up, which makes everybody late for work.
And what were the results you saw in other states that you wanted to bring it here to Michigan?
I believe it's in about a dozen other states, and they've had good success with it, and it was time to rebuild 96 anyway, so we always look at what else can we do. Is there anything else we can do as long as we're rebuilding the freeway? And that's why we've added it to 96, because we just rebuilt it in the last couple of years.
All right, and so this one goes into effect here in New Hudson tomorrow.
Tomorrow, this one. And the other 7, because there's a total of 8, they're within the next 2 weeks. Okay. Physically, we have to turn the signals around and redo final testing on it before they go live.
All right, and what is your final message for drivers who might be taken by surprise when they see this?
Well, as always, both hands on the wheel, both eyes on the road. If you're paying attention, you're going to notice that there's a new signal. So really, when you're behind the wheel, when you're driving, please only drive when you're driving.
That's great advice there, Diane. Thank you so much. So again, these metered ramps go into effect starting tomorrow and then over the course of the next 2 weeks. So when you pull up to the freeway, make sure you're following those traffic signals.